Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ferry Field and to what's going to be a very special moment here in terms of the history of this town, the history of this sport, and this very special place. Before I begin, I'm Jeff Hullaba, by the way, of Midstrack. But before I begin, allow me to welcome some of our special guests today. The Donald R. Shepard, Director of Athletics, Ward Manuel. U of M Regent, Paul Brown. Ohio State Head Coach, Rosalind Joseph. Michigan Head Coach, Kevin Sullivan. And most importantly, as a representative of the Owens family, his granddaughter, Marlene Dortch. What Sports Illustrated called the greatest 45 minutes in sports history didn't come out of it nowhere. Please allow me to put it into perspective. Jesse Owens was already considered a great athlete before he came to Ferry Field. He had already run 9.4 seconds in the 100-yard dash, unofficially tying the world record 3 times before he came here, including once when he was in high school at East Tech in Cleveland. He had broken the indoor long jump world record the winter before he came here. A few weeks before the Big Ten meet here, he missed the world record in the long jump by a ½ inch at the Drake Relays. So believe me, he was a well-known entity. In the pre-meet stories in the Ann Arbor News, they hailed him as the greatest individual athlete of all time, and noted that he reportedly said he would try to break the long jump world record here. Phil Diamond, the legendary head timer here at Michigan, insisted that a wind gauge be used because the world records in Owens events were, in quote, grave danger. That brought the crowds out. The day before, in qualifying, there were no hints that history was about to happen. Owens ran 9.7 in the 100-yard dash. The track folks here know that time is pretty good, but nothing to write home about. He ran 21.4 in the 220, a solid time again, but nothing that generated headlines. He broad jumped, as they said back then, instead of long jumped. He broad jumped 25 1¼ inches, 25 feet 1¼ inches. Now that one's pretty good, but it's still a foot short of his best at that point. And then in the low hurdle qualifying on that Friday, he wasn't even the fastest guy. So pretty good stuff by the standards of the day, but nothing to indicate what would happen on Saturday. Now remember, these were the days before automatic timing. And Phil Diamond, in his instructions to the timers, said not to click until an athlete's trail foot crossed the line. In other words, you didn't come to Michigan for fake fast times. Every time here was legit. On Saturday, clear skies, temperatures in the high 60s, light winds, and the reports vary, but somewhere between 5,000 and 12,000 fans showed up to this field. It was packed. If you look at the photographs, the place was packed. They saw Jesse Owens out there, digging his holes on the dirt track so he could stick his feet in them at the start of the race, because at that point, you could use those newfangled starting blocks, but Jesse Owens was old school. And then the day began. 3:15, 100-yard dash final. He won it, tying the world record of 9.4, this time officially, because there was a wind gauge. That mark would last 13 years as the world record. 10 minutes later at 3:25, he took his only long jump of the day. He added 6 inches to the world record, going 26 feet 8¼ inches. That would last as a global standard for 25 years. 20-minute break, and then he lined up for the 220-yard dash. He sliced 0.3 of a second off the world record. Now in the sprints, that's a lot. That mark actually counted for 2 world records, because the 220 yards was 47 inches farther than the international distance of 200 meters. So we got a twofer. That mark would last for 14 years as the world record. Now after all that, his coach, Larry Snyder, planned to pull him from the meet because he didn't want him to aggravate the back injury. He was competing injured, and he was competing in pain. His coach told me he had no chance to break the world record in the 220-yard low hurdles that were coming up. It's an event that Jesse Owens admitted in his autobiography he barely ever practiced. It didn't look good, but Owens begged his coach to allow him to run. According to the autobiography, he came up really close to Snyder and said in a quiet voice so no one else could hear it, he said, Coach, I'll never have another day like this in my life. Coach had to say yes. So at 4 o'clock, with a 15-minute break, he ran the 220-yard low hurdles. He destroyed the world record, cut 0.4 of a second off that mark, and again got a twofer because the 200-meter record fell as well. Like many of you, I heard of these feats as a young track fan, and I just wished I could see something like this someday. I've been blessed to cover the sport all over the world. This summer will be my 10th Olympics. And I've never seen anyone like Jesse Owens in his day of days. Now I know I never will. That kind of lightning doesn't strike twice. And now let me introduce our Donald R. Shepard, Director of Athletics.
We're going to do this, Jeff.
Yeah. And Marlene Dorch for the unveiling. When World Athletics, the ruling international body for track and field, decided they wanted to start a program to honor the most iconic places, the most iconic achievements in the sport, it's no wonder that Michigan's Ferry Field and the Day of Days of Jesse Owens was just about the first suggestion to make their short list. So this is huge.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. And we have some flowers. They're coming. And these are, they're for you. We did have to sprinkle a little made
Give him a bite.
because it happened here. We gotta do that. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Lord Manuel.
Thank you. I just want to welcome everybody. It's so great to be here with you, to meet Marlene, and to be here. It's a beautiful, I had not seen it until now. Beautiful plaque at a great position, which is where this track was originally. And so before I say a few other words, I do want to recognize our Vice President and Secretary of the University, Sally Churchill. She right here. If you get a chance, say hello to her. Her father and her uncle were here at the track meet when Jesse Owens set all of these world records. And so it's great to have her here. When she told me the story, she was driving back from out of town and said she wouldn't miss it because of the tie to her family having been here to experience it. And then I see our former coach, Ronnie, one of our great coaches. He was my track coach when I was here. He really didn't help me at all because he didn't know how to throw the javelin, but he was an inspiration to me. So it's very inspirational. And Mike is here, our cross-country coach, women's cross-country coach, another great coach who's been here for a long time. And then Nora Davis, Associate Commissioner of the Big Ten, is here, and just want to welcome him. Thank you for coming out. You will see him around the track meet, so please go out to that, which is, does it start today? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday at the track, pretty much all day. And please go see the field events. They're the best part of that. Okay? As a former field event participant, I just want to say exactly. We just want to give a shout out that Friday's a lonely day. We need y'all out there. All right. So, yeah. So we're honored to be here today for this unveiling and dedication of the World Athletic Heritage Plaque. This was originally awarded in 2018, but due to COVID and some other delays, and I want to shout out to Rob Rodemaker, my colleague in the department who really worked endlessly to make this happen. He and his staff, Chris Onstead, helped put this plaque together too. You should bring a round of applause. The plaque is location based, so when we first heard about this, they want it on the location. we had talked about other places in the athletic department that we could put it. They said, no, it needs to be on this location. And so that's why the credit goes to Chris for making this happen. He found a way to put it in and get it sealed up for eternity, really. It's awarded by the Museum of World Athletics. And this has started, as was said, recently, and this was the first, one of the first places that they wanted to do. This goes beyond, folks, the rivalry, and that's what I want people to understand. This is about history. It's about what Jesse Owens did, not only in the Big Ten, but for our country back then. If you remember around the Olympics, what was going on back then when he set these world records and then went to the Olympics, all the vitriol and everything that was going on in the world, he ran for America. And so there is no Ohio State-Michigan rivalry at this point. We'll put that back on the track when it's ready. This is about celebrating a great man who did a service to this country that will always, forever be remembered. And so I thank you all for being here, and I want to point out some of our track athletes are here. Wave your hands, and they're here representing. And I'll turn it back over, and then we'll hear from Aaron. Thanks.
Thank you, Ward. Our next speaker, very special one. This is the granddaughter of Jesse Owens, Marlene Dorch.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that history lesson. Thank you, Ward, for your words, and for everyone here who has made this happen. I always also want to thank World Athletics for making sure that my grandfather was included in World Athletics Heritage Plaque remembrance. It's great. It's a great day to be in the Big Ten. I see out here, what I see is family. I see all the coaches and team from Ohio State, Michigan, Granddad's Alpha Brothers, just coming out to honor him. I appreciate the stories that I've heard from you, and people think of him as an icon, but I know that he has been an inspiration to so many generations, and I'm thankful, our family is thankful that he will always be remembered. And this plaque here on this track will help that to make happen. I was here, actually, I did come and peek yesterday. I was here on the track. I'll blame Lindsey Williams for that. And I saw some young girls practicing. And that just really spoke to me, because generations later, there are young people who are on this field who can read this and see this and be inspired. Young men and women in this sport, and that would mean the world to him, because really what he wanted to do was to inspire young people and to take his experience and to make it better for the world. So thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you so much for this honor, the Jesse Owens family. We love the Big Ten. We love that he is still remembered by all of you. So thank you so much.
And now our next speaker, the heir to Larry Snyder's Ohio State program, Rosalind Joseph, the current head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Thank you. Glad to be here. I just want to offer, on behalf of Ohio State Athletics, we appreciate World Athletics, University of Michigan, for honoring not only a great in our program, but a great in the sport of track and field. And so we are appreciative that everyone here can recognize that this is someone who has left a legacy beyond the rivalry and really what it means to be able to promote our sport, promote what Jesse Owens has done for the sport of track and field, and continue to live out that legacy. So, thank you.
Thank you. And now our final speaker, the current head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Kevin Sullivan.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody that came out today. Really appreciate that World Athletics has honored Jesse Owens and Ferry Field, the site where he had this fantastic day with this great honor. This plaque has been up here for as long as I can remember. As I was here as a student athlete a long time ago, and it used to be on the other side of the War Memorial here. And I think it's really fitting that both are turned and facing the track. As Marlene said, she was out here last night, and what she saw is what we see all the time out here is the community out here now. And this used to be our competition track, our practice facility, and it's turned into a great resource for the community, the students on campus, and you just see a lot of young people being active and excited to be out here, and it's really cool for me, for them to be able to be on the track and walk over here and actually see this now. I think sometimes it gets forgotten when it was on the other side. I think obviously Jesse Owens' athletic accomplishments speak for themselves, and you've heard a lot about that today. And I was really fortunate as a young student athlete here. At the time, there was a gentleman here by the name of Red Simmons, who was the first women's track coach here at University of Michigan, and he was a contemporary of Jesse Owens. He was a little bit older than Jesse Owens, but they crossed up, their paths crossed in competition. And the really cool thing that Red used to always talk about, he would talk about Jesse Owens' athletic accomplishments, but he got to know Jesse and travel a little bit with him. And the things that he always talked about were Jesse Owens' kindness, his humility, and how he inspired everybody around him to be better people. And I think as much as this is a plaque that's dedicated primarily around his athletic accomplishments on this day in 1935, it's really bigger than that. And I think Jesse Owens the man is bigger than Jesse Owens the athlete. And I think for me that's it's really special that he's being honored here today. I'm glad that this plaque will be here for years to come and for people to see. Hopefully people will remember that history. We'll remember the history of Ferry Field, and we'll just remember what a great person, a great man Jesse Owens was. So thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all for those comments, and I think it sums it up in terms of who he was, what he means to the Big Ten, to Ohio State, setting the record at Michigan, what it means to us, and really what he also meant to this country back in 1936 and all that he did. I do want to recognize that Paul Brown, one of our regents, is here, and it really indicates, one, Paul knows our history very well. He knows the history of Ferry Field, but him being here is important. Thank you for coming out, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks again, Marlene. It's a pleasure to have you here. Enjoy, take pictures, come up, and I'm going to turn it over for the close, but thank you all.
Thank you, Lord. On behalf of World Athletics and on behalf of the University of Michigan, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out here and recognizing the importance of Jesse Owens and the legacy he's left all of us with. Quite special. And finally, on behalf of the Big Ten, we've got a track meet the next few days in this town, and it's going to be a heck of a meet. So please come on out and join us for that. It's going to be fun. So thank you very much.
Thank you.